Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Conversation Kanisa. I'm your Papa Escoffo, and today I have an exciting episode because we are driving the most powerful GLC of all. This is the GLC 63S 4matic Plus. And I hope you're ready for this exciting episode. So sit back, relax, and allow us to make your Sunday a beautiful and an enjoyable Sunday as well. Powering up this GLC 63S is one of the most sought after engine from Mercedes Benz, and that is the powerful M177 V8 bi-turbo. And when I say bi-turbo, this is what I mean. Woo! Pure performance, and just an orgasmic feel every time you shift up and down. So this engine is delivering to the wheels 503 HP and 700 Newton meters of torque. To this car, it looks like very small figures and numbers, but trust me, it makes this car one of the most enjoyable car to drive, both on road, and it has an option for race as well. So I know this is a track capable car. Paired to this M117, it's a 9-speed G-tronic transmission from, come on, do it again. Do it, please. It's a 9-speed G-tronic transmission from Mercedes Benz, and it's paired to what Mercedes Benz calls sequential shift, which is basically the mechanism behind how it shifts up and down. So they call it speed shift MCT. That is the mechanism behind how this transmission shifts up and down. And that combo paired to the M177 makes this car quite interesting to drive, even though I must confess, a ZF transmission, the Steptronic ZF transmission from Porsche and Audi and even BMW, shifts a bit faster compared to what we have here. And I know the DSG as well will do the same. But what this gearbox is known for is putting down the torque and the power. When I say torque, that's what I mean. See? Woo! Mercedes Benz. So what are the problems that you're likely to find when you're buying the GLC 63S that runs the M177 engine? Fortunately or unfortunately for other guys, there is really not much problems to talk about on this generation of the M177. But the previous generation, they had a few issues around the head bolts stretching over time, and that will cause a bit of problems to the engine. But on this particular one that we're looking at, it's pretty solid and standard. Plus, if you're buying this car, come on, do you care about few thousands of shillings to fix whatever problem this car will come? No. So I'm going to give a big shout out to a guy called N. Bondari. I think this guy must be an Italian married to a guy from Central. That's the only way you can come up with those names. For the 2019 facelifted version of the GLC, Mercedes-Benz kept everything pretty standard as usual, except for two things. One is the grille, of course. These are new grille and styled to just suit the performance of this car. The second thing is the headlights. They are slimmer and they feature a new lighting signature. Those guys who drive BMWs, Mercedes has a thing that if you put on your lights, they do some few before giving you the light you want. So that's what you get from this car. But what are these special things that gives away this car as a sports or track oriented machine. Number one is the brake caliper. So you get 6-pot brake calipers at the front and 4-pot at the rear. And if you see that, just know that the car that needs to stop faster has enough power to show you dust. Something else that will give away this car is this badge. So you have the V8 bi-turbo 4MATIC Plus. These are performance-oriented specs of this car that I'm going to tell you about when we go to drive this car. And flowing back to the rear side of this machine, there's nothing much that has really changed except just an aggressive diffuser that Mercedes has designed to go hand in hand with the performance aspect of the GLC 63S, and 4 quad exhausts that are real. Are they real? Okay, one is real, the other one is fake. Mercedes Benz decided to go very easy on the interior of this car with very few and minimal upgrades. Number one is you get MBUX that runs the entire infotainment system. MBUX is actually the software that runs the infotainment system. Most people confuse between the system and the screens. So the screens are not the MBUX. So if you see 2 or dual screens, don't think that is the MBUX. But from 2019, you get MBUX on this. It is a 10.25-inch screen display that is touch as well. So you can get the option of selecting anything you want and adjusting it using your touch. You still get your trackpad here again, just to complement that. But most significantly, what you get for the performance orientation of this car is these bucket seats. No comfort in this car. You sit in this car, you know from the first word you're going to be resting and enjoying your drive. Number two, you get a new upgraded steering wheel that has these new control buttons that you can select the suspension stiffness and smoothness. As well, you can change the driving mode of this car using this dial. So you don't need, once your hands are here, you don't need to move to adjust your dynamic nini. You just dial here and you're ready to go. Paddle shifters again, sequential Mercedes-Benz system that they call MCT, speed shift. So that is what is controlled by these paddle shifters. Away from that, nothing. Everything else remains stock. And you haven't watched the review of the GLC 250 that we did before, Bogo is going to put the link here. Everything else you see in that car is what you get on this package, just except those that I've mentioned. Let's go drive this car and get to see how does it actually perform. It's time to talk about the performance aspect of this car and what makes this car special. 2 things that I need you to know. Let me calm her down so that she goes back to comfort, because what I'm about to talk to you requires a bit of comfort and relaxation. So what makes this car a unique end performance car? Being a practical SUV at the same time. Mercedes-Benz have done 2 things. One, they have upgraded what we call the 4MATIC drive system. A 4MATIC is an all-wheel drive system derived by Mercedes-Benz to just make their cars capable. But this particular that was this car is what we call the 4MATIC Plus. So now, let me bring you up to speed to what the difference is. So a normal 4MATIC is controlled by a set of planetary gears. That is a center diff. Basically, there is a center diff that connects how power is delivered to the front and the rear of this car. And in most Mercedes-Benzes, you'll find it split into a ratio. So for the former GLC, for instance, the one that doesn't have the 4MATIC Plus, you'll find it's 35 at the front and 55 at the rear. And sometimes in cars like GT63, you'll find it's a 31-69% split ratio, 69 being the rear, just to make the car, drive like a sports car. But now, when they did an upgrade to this particular system, now this is the 4MATIC Plus. So what does the 4MATIC Plus do? First, they ditched what we call the planetary gear system. And what they brought is a multiple clutch based system. So the multiple clutch based system is electronically controlled again. And what that is capable of doing is, based with how you drive the car, it can actually set whether excess torque and power the rear or excess torque and power the front. And it's all done electronically based with how you drive this car. And that gives this car the ability to go into corners and out of corners like a sports car. That it is actually. This is a sports car. It's a car that you can comfortably take to a track and abuse most people that, are bragging to have performance cars. Second thing that just makes this car all juicy in terms of performance, again adding on to that technology by Mercedes 4MATIC Plus, is what we call a rear limited slip differential. Again, electronically controlled, and there is no connection between the rear diff and the center diff that operates the 4MATIC Plus system, but in one or the other, based with the record that each of the systems puts into the ECU, the car is able to intelligently maneuver and steer itself just to give you that beautiful and awesome feel. Driving this car in comfort is so boring. Let me put her back in Sport Plus. And now we are talking. That's what I like hearing. So now, of course, with all these technologies, you guys are wondering, so how does Mercedes keep all these technologies safe, secure, and reliable? Well, for the 4MATIC Plus, Mercedes-Benz has done something very beautiful around how just to keep it calm and cool throughout the performance. So what they've done is they have integrated a heat exchanger, which is a cooling system that regulates how the fluids through the multi-clutch system get cooled when they get hot. And the most interesting thing, and this is something that Mercedes has been doing all over, the 211, the 211 that I own has the same system where they route the cooling system of the gearbox through the radiator. So now when you cool the engine, when you cool the water through the radiator, the lower bit of the radiator has, you know, gearbox fluid circulating through, so it cools the gearbox as well. That's why it's not recommended to overheat your Mercedes Benz, because if you do that, not only are you raising the temperatures of your gearbox fluid, but as well you're raising the temperatures of the engine. So in this, again, Mercedes did the same thing with the 4MATIC Plus system. They also rerouted the cooling fluids through the radiator, so it's connected to the gearbox cooling system and the radiator. So when you cool the gearbox, you also be able to cool the 4MATIC Plus system, and that gives this car an edge. How? Because you are able to keep this car in a high performance stance for a very long time without really getting worried of what is going to happen. That's what I love about Mercedes. Come 200. Woo! And that is a brake, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you brake. What else do we have to do? Let me get Mr. Mbugwa here. Let's do 0 to 100 and let's confirm. Are we playing or are we joking? Because Mercedes is not coming out to play. Mr. Mbugwa, welcome to the Mercedes Benz GLC 63S. Not just 63. It feels good to be back. Good. Coming back with the Mercedes Benz GLC 63S.
Funny enough, why do you always come back with a Mercedes?
By the way, yeah, it has to be a GLC.
It has to be a GLC.
400 meters.
No problem. So, I've talked to these guys about every little thing that this car offers.
Okay.
The only thing probably you'll be complaining about from where you're sitting is
maybe
your seat.
Maybe the seat. You see, I interacted with this Mercedes E250 coupe.
Yes.
Seat had bucket seats, but
Yes.
you could adjust.
Yes.
You could perforate and inflate.
Yes.
So, based with your body size, you can control.
Yeah.
Exactly. I would love that.
Yeah. But this.
But I don't care. This one you don't. You're driving, you don't feel that.
In fact, I'm going to make you a bit more angry. So now there is one of the most, celebrated technology with the Mercedes Benz, which we call the Distronic Plus, which is what you use for, radar cruise control, nini On this one, they deleted it. They said, this car you do not. Why do you need that? Why?
Tell me why you need it.
This is all you need. This is all you need. Why do you need all that in this car? Why?
There's no reason you need that.
So that is also out. So you get your bucket seats, they tuck you in, and it just reminds you that you want to go and nyama people on the track.
Can we do this?
To watch a waste time. I'm wasting your time. Stop wasting your time. Stop valuable time. I've come on the highway. So we do this thing, eh?
Do this thing.
Yeah, let me. Yes, Mr. Mbugwa. So are you ready with your draggy?
I'm ready.
So I'm just going to put this car in the best settings. I can see we have race. So I'm going to put it in race mode. Nimekupatia hapo engine whatever. You can see how the 500 plus HP and the 700 are doing. Suspension yuko kwa the most sportiest and the most stiffiest one. So I'm ready. Are you ready? We launch this thing.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
In 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, hata uhitaji kucount.
You know,
before you finish to your blah blah. I want to do a quarter mile. Mugwa.
Oh my God.
I felt we lost some traction there, but it's good. It's what this car does. I launched, I felt. Tell me, 0 to 100.
0 to 100, 5.7 seconds.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
5.75 seconds.
There is a car that is coming after this that was trying to break in your little. So when you guys watch this review, there is a car that is coming after this car that is trying to challenge Mercedes Benz. I'll tell you one thing, Boko. Mercedes Benz are good in terms of designing cars for every category. Like this is the ultimate power when it comes to GLC. You understand? So you can get your GLC 250, GLC 300, then you can get the GLC 43 that we did with the M276, and then you get the big babas.
These ones.
Yes, but they're also diesel versions, of course, and we will test. We will test and see
for them.
Yes, what the diesel has. But from there,
the ones that have the 450D.
Yes.
I know. You can imagine the torque in that. If the torque in this for petrol car is literally pushing it.
Yes. Hey, talk to me.
Grade it. 10 out of 10, man.
And on that note, you said 10 out of 10. It's always a 10 out of 10 on Mercedes Benz.
Said I'm cold in the water, broken and still, feel nothing at all, but pain and the chill.
Guys, we've come to the end of this special episode of Conversation. Somebody special once said, if you want to drive a car, please own a Mercedes that has a 45 badge, a 63 badge, or a 65 badge. I've been your host, Papa Skofi. You can call me Ibrahim Toloi. Until the next episode of Kanisa Conversation. See you.
Yeah, I can't even see shore, yeah, and I got nowhere to go, yeah, hoping I could stay afloat, yeah, it feels like I've been dreaming, but I know I'm not sleeping, I just need hope. Said I'm cold in the water, broken and still, feel nothing at all.